Pick up your gear and open your chests. Throw on your armor and head out on a quest. Hey, hey, it's a brand new day. On the Sword Coast, your allies will help with blades and bows and magic as well. Hey, hey, heroes on their way. Fighting forever against overwhelming odds. Fighting together in favor of multiple gods. Idle champions of the forgotten realms. Idle champions, adventure never ends. Idle champions, get you all out there. Idle champions, you reset again. Idle champions. From Waterdeep to Icewind, head out to Chull or Shadowfell, hey, hey. Together we stay. Walk to the monsters, walk to the boss, walk to the right, it's never a loss, hey, hey. Bad guys to slay. Fighting forever against overwhelming odds. Fighting together in favor of multiple gods. Idle champions of the forgotten realms. Idle champions, adventure never ends. Idle champions, get you all out there. Idle champions, you reset again. Idle champions.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of Gaarawarr's Guide, the tutorial show. I'm Gaarawarr. Today's show is going to be on the topic of formation saves, which seems like for a lot of people who use formation saves all the time, they're like, why does this need to be a thing? But there are a lot of people who will start the game new, and don't really understand exactly, like they see that there's formation saves. Maybe they're not using them correctly. Maybe they're not using them at all. I've been bad in the past about making sure I save my formations, but it's one of those systems in the game that makes your life a lot easier, so we're going to dive into it today. If you're new to this show, on the tutorial show, me, myself, and I talk about the topic for the first hour, and then in the second hour we answer questions. You could feel free to ask your questions in the first half. We have Trevor in the mod pod today. He's going to be pulling, managing chat and then pulling questions as well, and he'll add them to a little document, and I will come back to that in the second half. All the things are on. Yes, all the things are on. So, I guess we just dive into it. So I'm not in an adventure, and I guess I should jump in one so we can see what we're talking about. Let's go mad. Yeah, I haven't been a mad wizard in a while on stream. All right, so whenever you're in an adventure, any kind of adventure, over on the bottom left-hand side of the screen, you will see what I guess for some of you I have to actually tell you. I mean, this is the save icon, folks. This is a floppy disk. Potentially maybe a 3.5. If you don't know what that is, there's this thing called Google. Go look it up. Then there's a file folder, and then there's some numbers. What does all this mean? This is if you click on these, you access the formation save system. So if I click on the top one, it's gonna pop up the formation save manager. it's going to show you this nice visual representation of the formation layout for whatever campaign you're in. And it's going to actually show you the champions. And in this case, it's going to show you the skin that they're wearing. You can see I've saved a lot of formations down here in the past. It gives you the ability to name your formation save. This is a big deal. And then there's these numbers, and then there's a save button, and I mean you can clear things out and etc. I can. Oh, that was the wrong button. I can type in whatever I want. I can save it. Well, what does that do? That means now I can go in here to this second one. I can find my save, and I can load it again. Pretty straightforward. So again, this is the formation save manager again, but this is the load a formation save dialog. And then I can kind of pick whatever formation I want. We'll say speed farm, and I can click it, and it loads things in. Now, it starts throwing up all kinds of dialogues in my face. This is for a completely separate reason, but we will get to that. If I want to go back to my old formation, if I don't like that one and I want to go back, I can, right? This all seems very straightforward, and these parts are, if you know this system even exists. Because, I mean, why would you? Right off the bat, there's nothing really that tells you about it. But under this, you'll see it. Look, I've still got... I've got some numbered stars for some reason. I've got unnumbered stars. I've got a name. And there's a little pencil here, which means you can edit this. What can you edit? You can edit the name. You can change the name of whatever you want. You can load it. You can delete it. The interesting things to note here is not only does it show you the layout of the champions as you've chosen them, it actually also lists... This is the symbol for the familiars. It lists out how many familiars this formation uses out of the total number of familiars. So if you're ever wondering, I wonder how many familiars I have, it seems like there's a lot. You can open the formation save manager, and it's actually going to tell you what your total number of familiars are. It's going to tell you what your total number of familiars are. So, the other numbers down here are the quick saves. The quick saves. How do we access those? When you're saving your formation, you can click, like if I were creating a new one, new something or other, I could overwrite. I could choose, hey, I want it to be 2. It's hard to tell, but it lights up a little bit. It lights up a little bit. And then as I save this, right now my star 2 is Dahani farming, but if I save this, suddenly I look over here, now it's this. Now it's this. What does that mean? It means if I come over here and I kill all this stuff off and I go to load, again, if I click on here, it just auto-loads my speed farm. It auto-loads my speed farm. If I click here, it's going to auto-load that one. Now, you'll notice I killed everything off before I did this. Why did I do that? Well, if you're under attack and you try to swap formations, nothing happens. Nothing happens. This is a way that the game... I mean, obviously, I couldn't load a full formation here. This person's partway back through. This would kind of be some kind of shenaniganry if I were able to load a formation while my formation was under attack. You know, your tank might be dying. You could just tap a formation button and then you pop in a fresh tank. The game's like, nah, you can't do that. So if you want to swap your formations, you're under attack. You can't do that. You'll just have to go back a level. Hit the button. I will take care of this shortly. There's a reason I'm leaving those up. And then you can do it again. As long as your formation is not under attack, that includes even by ranged enemies, then you can swap with a save formation. You can swap with a save formation. But now I run into the problem, well, now I've got 2 of these, and I don't need 2 of these. Just click delete. There's going to be a confirmation. You know, the They want to make sure you don't accidentally delete stuff. And then it's gone. And then it's gone. And then you're back to only having one weird deacon-only formation. Deacon-only formation, right? So we hop back over here. Let's say Deacon needs some help. Deacon needs some help. So I'm going to throw Nyelian and Dragonbait and Briv. Tanks to the rescue. Tanks to the rescue. Deacon's going to say, tanks, man, later when he's done. But now I want to... Now I'm going to come in here. And I'm like, do I want to save this again? Sure. This seems better. I don't need to save a new formation. I could. It depends. If I want a deacon-only formation, I can leave deacon-only, right? But if I just want to add these to this formation, I can come down here to the overwrite button. And I can just click it. And it's going to automatically update. If I hover over 2, which is my preset for this now, you'll see they're all in there now. Still no familiars assigned. It's got the name listed. It shows all their locations, all in the bottom left. And if I don't want to click manually on these buttons, the 1 is your Q button on your keyboard. The 2 is your W button, and the E is your, or 3 is your E button. The E is your 3 button. No, that doesn't work. The 3 is your E button, folks. The 3 is your E button. So, these are the very basic settings. So you can come in, you can create your own formation, you can name it, you can assign it one of the 3 hotkeys. Yeah, there's only 3. Why are there only 3? Well, folks, if we look at all of the buttons that are potentially available for hotkeys, a lot of them are around that what we refer to as the WASD area, where where your left hand goes, and they're all pretty full. They're all pretty full. There might be another one floating in there somewhere. Like, I think we might be able to. I don't know that D does anything, but adding more of those hotkeys probably not the easiest thing in the world to do. So you get 3. You get 3. The rest of them are accessible through the folder system. And as you can see, there's a lot. You've even got a slider if you need it. You'll note I'm using 9 out of 50 potential formation slots. What's important, though, to note is that all of these are Sword Coast formations. It's not listing anything from any other campaign. Why is that? It's because every single campaign in the game gets 50 unique save slots. All of them. All of them, folks. So if I come out here... Sword Coast is going to have 50. Tomb of Annihilation is going to have 50. Dragon Heist, because these are all unique formation layouts. They're all going to get 50 unique formation save slots. You can make custom formations like you saw that I had. We'll go over some of those in Sword Coast. You can make these for every place you run into, and this is great because every time you want to do a run, there's a lot of runs here in Waterdeep, right? There's lots of places. If we open these, we've got variants, right? Every time you do that, you don't want to have to re-drag out all your champions. You can build your formation, you can save it, and then you can just load it the next time you're in. Now, this isn't all, though. You'll note, hey, we have an event going on right now. Well, guess what? Anywhere you see the event itself doesn't have 50 unique formation saves. Each champion in the event has 50 unique formation saves because each champion's event, they kind of treat it as this is an event, overarching event, but each of these is an event for the champion. Each has its own formation layout. So for each champion in the event, you also have 50 formation saves. This means that, and these formation saves will cross over and work in time gates as well. So when you run into an event, take the time, have your starting push formation. Maybe make a speed formation. When you figure out your deep pushing formation, make sure before you end your run you save that so you can come back to it. If you do any shenaniganry with a Zaka farming, save that one, etc. You've got plenty. You got 50 formation slots to save for the event. And then when you go to do a time gate for them later, if you run into like a natural time gate weekend, you decide to get them more gear, you have all those formation saves ready. You don't have to come up to it again. You don't have to come up to it again. And then when the event returns the next year, they're still there. They're still there. Now you may want to update them for any new champions you might have, like if you've got some more speed champions, or if you've got better pushing champions, right? You're going to need to update your formations. But again, you can just hop in, load the formation, and then come in and then hop over here and overwrite. Overwrite with any adjustments you make. Also, did you add more familiars? If you did, that's going to happen. So make sure when you're going to save, you have everything that you want saved with you. Speaking of, if you'll note, when I'd hopped into this speed farm, ooh, I don't want to overwrite. I want to load speed farm. You'll notice, you've noticed this repeatedly. All of these specialization boxes keep popping up. Well, why do they do that? Well, it's because I saved familiars with this formation. As you can see, I have all these wonderful familiar friends. They're doing the automation part of the load-in, and what they're doing is they're buying all of my champions for me. They're buying all of my champions for me. And as they get more gold, they're clicking on the gold and they're leveling them up until they get to specializations, and then you have to make a choice. You have to make a choice of what specialization you want. Now, because if you'll note, there's nothing over here that says anything about saving your specializations. It's the formation layout itself, and it's the familiars. Let me see if there's one. Oh, nope, I'm too good. I loaded familiars with all of these. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to hop out. We're going to hop out, and we're going to hop back in. Now, if I come in and I want to load up that same Deacon and his tank friends formation, what I can do, I can kill some things, I can get some gold, I'm going to come down here, I'm going to load it, and nothing's going to happen, right? Nothing's going to happen. Well, that's not true. That's not true. Something happened. It loaded this formation layout. It's just, you'll see the champions are grayed out there because they're not in there. But if I come over, and let's say I try to load in Briv first, he goes to the right place. He goes to the right place. And then I load in Dragonbait. He goes to the right place. And then Nayeli. Everybody goes to the right place. I have to buy them, though. I have to mainly buy them if I don't have familiars. Familiars are one part of automation in the game. It's just clicking the button isn't going to load everybody in unless you've saved your familiars. So if I come back in and I put familiars on these 4, and then I click save and I overwrite. Go away. I swear. Go away. If I overwrite and then I come back, all right, we got to them all. It will now show that I have 4 familiars in this save. I have 4 familiars in this save. So if I were to close out of this again, and then, well, here, we'll just do it. And then I come back in, it's going to automatically load, when I click that button, it's going to automatically load not only the formation layout that I want, and I don't have to do this in Mad Wizard, I can go to any adventure now, because these saves exist all along the Sword Coast. I can come over here, I'm gonna kill a couple things so I have some gold to buy stuff with. Boom. Everything's loaded in and they're leveling up. This is the power of oops, wrong button. This is the power of familiars in combination with your formation save system. Right? Now there's one other level to this. There's one other level to this. That you have to unlock at some point along your journey. I mean, you've got to unlock familiars. You can get them for gems out of the gem store. You can buy them for cash in the shop. Occasionally, you can get them in other ways, but those are the primary 2 you're going to have as a brand new player. The other thing, once you get a certain distance through the game, you're going to do an adventure called Split the Party. Has to do with this dialogue, unlock a new party. You'll do an adventure. I've got a guide for that. And then afterwards you get a second party and you get a Modron core. That's this button up here, right? you'll be able to load a Modron core into your formation and go from no core to a core here, and then it opens up another automation dialog. So if we look on this automation dialog, one of the things you can do in automation is set a formation. Now I have it disabled here. I have it turned off for the purposes of this demonstration. But as it says, it picks a formation to be automatically loaded during adventures in the selected campaign. By selected campaign, it's not actually talking about the one you're in. You can actually, if you look down here, there's a selection, a Grand Tour of the Sword Coast. It actually lists off all the potential campaigns in the game for you to mess with. So we've got events, we've got Strahd, like patrons, we got all the basic stuff. It's all in here. I'll be honest, it's not organized very well. So it's best to do this when you're in the actual place you want it. But it's going to show you the formation that you can use, just like it does in the manager. It'll say, it'll show you the name. It'll say how many familiars, but then it lists specializations. And if we come over here, you can actually choose. We can clear it out, and we can come in and pick which specialization we want automatically loaded in once we have our Modron core. When we load that formation, every time we load that formation. So what they did is they built another layer into the formation save system through the Modron cores. And this is how that works. You can come in at any time and do this. Now, it's not going to change it on your current run. It's going to change it the next time the system loads in that formation. Like at the start of a run. So keep that in mind. But if I wanted, I could come over to one of these other places and I could set up, which place I want it and where and etc. Now I'm going to go over here and I'm going to set it to our new formation save. We're going to back out. We're going to go somewhere else, and we're going to watch it. Since I have enabled it on my Modron core, I can even go mess with this out here on the map screen at the world map. But I can still come in here. And I can enable what formation I want when I start my next run, right? And even though I'm not in the game, even though I'm not in a run, I can still come to specializations. These are empty. I can go and select them now. I can select it right now. I do not have to wait until the run starts. And now, when I go into my run, it's going to take care of all of that for me. So now it's not going to spam my face with all the pop-ups. You'll notice it's not doing anything yet, but there is a mage hand out already. It loaded that up for me, right? I'm automatically having to kill things because I didn't put any familiars on the field, but the second I pick up some gold, everybody loads in, everybody starts leveling up, and as we reach the specializations, we just pass deacons, no dialogue in my face. It takes care of everything for me. Right? That's the automation part that comes with Modron cores. If we hover over the icon up here, it shows us that that's the formation that's enabled. That's how many familiars it's going to load in. It keeps this information everywhere we need it. Right? So now I don't have to worry about anything in my face. However, if I go to load up my speed farm, we're gonna run into some dialogue issues, right? Because my Modron was not set to this. My Modron core is not set to this, and the Modron core is where you save your specializations. So if I had wanted to be able to switch over and have it load in the right formations, right specializations, I would have needed to come over here, select speed farm, then hit it. And now you'll see all the specialization dialogues went away. It's passed. It's continuing to upgrade. It does them all automatically now. Does them all. I even have familiars on the field. Everything that I want is happening. Okay, this is the total power of your formation save system. It can save once you have Modron cores unlocked. It is fully operational. It will not only load out. The normal thing is to load out the layout and to load out your familiars, but then with the Modron core, it will automatically do your specializations that you have chosen. Again, you can either go in and set them manually before the run, or if you create your formation save after you've chosen your specializations, it will automatically save them. So let's demonstrate that. I'm going to come in here and I'm going to go alternate speed farm, but I'm not going to change anything. But then we're going to go look at it in our formation save system. We'll see it's got all the same familiars, right? And if I come over here and I go and I select this one, and then I click on specializations, they're all chosen already. Because I saved that formation after all of these decisions had been made. So the system goes, oh, these are the specializations they want. I'm just going to go ahead and save that with it. Okay? It's going to take care of all of that for you. It's going to take care of all of that for you. Now, normally, these are not the formations I have, but we will keep it there. Okay. So, what you want to do now, now with all of this power, what do you do? Well, what do you use these for? Obviously, I have a speed run set up. Now, this one's speed farm. But having an early, like whatever your formation is that you start a run with, whether it's speed or it's a certain set of characters that you use to maybe, like if you're newer and you start with Jarlaxle, but later on you swap to Hitch or you swap to Ashara, you can have your starting formation save so that at the start of your run, it loads it. You can just hit the button. It's going to load your layout. You don't have to worry about it. You just have to worry about buying everything if you don't have familiars. Then you can save your pushing formation. And then you could save your gold farm, right? Like I have all of these. I've got click debuff. I've got my Briv gem farm because that's different from a speed farm. I've got Dahani farming for if I want to farm her stacks for her abilities. I've got a gold, which I guess was one of the older versions of Azaka farming. Yeah, looks like it. I'm just going to go ahead and delete that because I already have this one. I can tell that I've got Rust in the Harbor over here. This is my more modern version of Azaka farming, so I can just delete that and clean up this. I've got Orkira stacking, so I've got a lot of the things that I want here. But because I have 50 slots, as I'm going along, if there's any custom parties I want to run in Sword Coast occasionally, like maybe I want to run a Companions of the Hall formation, I can name one Companions and I can save it. It's going to load in every time, right? So you've got a lot of room here, but what you want to make sure you're doing is don't do like this and give it just some weird name, and don't leave it as a new formation save, which I used to be horrible about. Please label your formations. It makes it so much easier if at a glance you can tell what this formation is for, and you don't have to look at all these and go, well, in this layout, I was doing this, I guess? No. Give your formations a label. Remember, you don't have to add in, like, Sword Coast or Strahd Sword Coast, right? They all have their own saves. Just make sure you're saving it and you're labeling it. It's going to save you a lot of time and a lot of headaches, right? I'm going to go ahead and delete this. But we worked so hard on that formation. It's okay. I have what I need. Now, the key here is so we've figured out how to use these in regular runs. Yeah, it's going to help you when you start off a campaign and you start leveling up your champions and you build out a formation. You've started a new campaign. You figured out this is my pushing formation. This is my gold find formation. This is my speed formation. Great, you did that campaign, but then you unlock your patron. And you have to go back and you have to do all of those variants all over again. Yeah. Well, guess what? You're going to have to, because the patron is going to restrict the champions you can use, you're going to have to build out new formations. Now, see, I'm in Sword Coast again, but I selected Mert. I have all kinds of formations now. Why do I have so many? You might ask. In chat. The reason is Patron Challenges. Patron Challenges, folks. Not only do I want formations that are going to push through variants, which I have some generic things set up, like I've got click speed. This is just a generic, like if I'm starting off, this I think is usually what I start off most of my runs with. That's the main thing. I have click speed because then when I do a variant, the variant's going to have all kinds of restrictions that I have to deal with. And I'm going to just modify my formation on the fly. Now, occasionally, if it's a real difficult variant and I can't beat it, then I will save that formation. And then I'll say, let's say, let's not. Are you chicken? Because maybe I had trouble with are you chicken. And I'm going to save that formation as are you chicken. And that way, when I come back to do it again and try it again, I will know, well, here's the formation I tried last time. It didn't really get there, but it got me the furthest. And then maybe I have some new champions I want to try. And when I go back and I do it again, it's already there. I don't have to rebuild the wheel. I just have to maybe adjust it a little bit so that I can actually complete Are You Chicken. Obviously, this is not the Are You Chicken formation, but I think you guys get the idea. But the other thing is Patron Challenges. Patron Challenges is the big one. Every week on Monday at noon Pacific, as we all know, the servers take a little nap, and when they wake up, we have new challenges. So, a lot of these challenges are very generic. Kill 1,000 beasts, right? Use 50 ultimate attacks. Well, this one actually we can address with this system now, right? Earn ruby coins. But then we get into ones that's like reset any Mert variant or free play in area 250 plus with Warden as your highest total damage dealer, right? Well, you could go in and manually try to rebuild these every time, or you can use your formation system, save system, and you can create your formation and then you can save it as Warden DPS. It's almost like I've had this challenge before, folks, because here's the thing. They cycle those challenges and they recycle them and they use them over and over and over again. Sometimes there's new ones that I don't have a formation save for, but because I start off with click speed, this is like the first formation you should save for Patron Challenges is a speed formation. That is the speediest thing you can do for Mert, for me, or it was at one point. I've probably got to rebuild this now that we have some. It's got Human at least, but now there's potentially some other speed champions. But I'll start this as my base. I'll load it in for the challenge, and then I will adjust it until I meet the requirements of Warden DPS. So as you can see, I've still got Human in, I've still got Shandy in, I've still got Melf in, I've still got speed in this formation, but I built the rest out to give Warden a boost of DPS with the champions that were available to me. Now I know when the Patron Challenges reset, if I want, if that's one of the challenges, I can just set this formation up to load in when I start my run. And then I can set, with my Modron core, I could set my reset to 250 because that's all I have to beat. And then I start my run. Once I start my run, I can then, this is what makes formation saves fun. I can then look at, well, what else am I going to have to do in Mert? Well, obviously I want to knock 250 out with Warden first. But then I need 1,000 areas without any tanking champions. Oh, okay. Well, if I'm in my run already, let's say I've started this run, I'm 56 in, I forgot to do this right away. I come in here, I need 1,000 no tanks. No tanks is what I say to that. But here we go, no tanks, right? I can go ahead and select this. And then I can close this dialog. And then I can go AFK for a while. And what's going to happen is when it hits 250, it's going to reset. And it's going to start a new run. But it's going to do it with that no tanks formation. And since I left it at 250, I can leave it and it can do 4 of those runs. So I can I can go AFK for 5 runs worth of adventures because I set up a Warden DPS first, and then it's going to cycle through 4 no tanks runs, and then it'll be done. Now if I come back and I'm in my last no tanks run, and I come down here and it's in like it says 800 out of 1,000. Well, I know that at the next reset it's going to be done. I can come in and I can look, well, and I'm also going to need 1,000 with Neris, Turiel, and Celeste, right? I can come in here and I can go, well, did I save one of those? And because I saved it, hopefully the same way it lists out, I hope I did. I try to. I could just go down and I can look for that, and I can select that one to load in next. This makes Patron Challenges super easy. AFKable. I already have all of that information saved. And so the next time the Patron Challenges reset, it's probably going to be there. It's probably going to be there. I mean, look, all of these are Patron Challenges. There's a Minsk DPS. Well, not the Torgar background farm. Archon DPS. We've got combinations of different champions. These are all combinations that have come up at some point in the Patron Challenges, right? Including no DPS or no support. The hated no support, right? They're all here. And that lets me just load them in easily. I've also got maybe potentially like a Zorbu DPS, but then we have Lolth. What is Lolth? Well, at some point, there was a variant that I was doing that had something to do with Lolth, and I saved that formation because I hated that variant and I didn't beat it the first time. Right? This is what you do. I should have been more descriptive. See, this is me getting mad at myself and calling myself out for not knowing, not listing this out, because I have no idea which variant that is for, but I know it was for a variant, right? So naming things well is going to make it easy for you to come back and get it again. You can do this for all the patrons, because again, each patron gets their own 50 unique formation saves. So you can fill this thing up with every specific thing that a patron challenge does. And the nice thing about this is all you really need to look at is the named ones. And while it's doing these 2,250 variant levels, or levels on a free play, these are free play levels, it's going to rack up all of these other kills for you. Now, you are going to want to load in some familiars, obviously, but you're going to want to put some on your ultimate bars for at least one of your formations. I do it in the click speed one, if you'll notice. I've got a whole trove of familiars here parking their butts on my ultimate bar, and that's so that I know at some point I'm just going to be using that generic click speed formation, and that's when it's going to get those 50 ultimates, and it'll knock that up without me having to do anything at all. Now I do have to watch for things like complete area 300 or higher, but that's just an easy quick change on my Modron. But otherwise, all that's going to be taken care of, right? And we're going to load out of here. I don't need that right now, Windows. Now, so this is your campaigns, your regular campaigns, your patrons. Again, you can do this with your events. Again, remember, each champion has their own formation layout, so each champion will have their own set of 50 formation saves that you can make up, and these will travel across both events and time gates. So you can set them up in time gates as well when you go to do any of your time gates. But it also works for trials. It also works for your trials runs. You know what? I'll hop in to a trial run. Yes, it's going to automatically disable the patrons. Now, in my trial run, as you can see, things might be a little more challenging. Things might be a little more challenging. Because you're going to have restrictions, obviously, that are going to keep you from doing things. And these restrictions are going to stack up over time. So like my day one is only champions with wisdom score 10 or higher can be used. So what you can do here, and I haven't done this fully. I don't even know what I did here. As you can tell, I'm not always great. But down here was where I was having a good day, and I was being good about naming things. I go in, and that first day restriction, I can go, here's my strength 10 plus Ashara push. Here's my strength 10 plus Azaka farm, my strength 10 plus start. You can go in for these restrictions, for those starting day one restrictions, and you can build out a unique formation every time you run into it. And you can load in that formation, so you know I don't have to fiddle with this formation, right? I also have generic ones in. I've got to get rid of the generic ones and start making them all specific. But you can name all these per that first day restriction. I wouldn't bother then trying to double up and name the later restrictions. As most of you hopefully know, day one is the most important day and the day that you'll be doing a lot of this shenaniganry. So just make sure that you have that day one stuff, and then you can always load up later just the day one start and then modify it for whatever later restrictions you have. Because the combination of restrictions, there's probably more combinations of restrictions, especially between, like, you can only have 4 evil champs and you can only have int of 12 along with these things. That would actually probably fill out all of your formation saves. But do them based off the day 1 restrictions, the different potential day 1 restrictions, and you'll do fine with your trials runs. That'll help ease your setup and initial start. Now, one thing to remember with trials runs is, last I checked, they actually act like free plays, which means if you have your Modron set up to reset at a level, it will do that in your trials run. So disable that. That's this second column here in the automation. Disable this when you're doing your trials of Mount Tiamat. It will still load up your proper formation. As you can see, trials of Mount Tiamat. It'll still load the proper formation with your familiars and your specializations. But this way you don't dump a bunch of potions in and then it resets because you were like, but wait, I thought Modron's only reset in free plays, because that's the truth. You only have to remove this for Trials of Mount Tiamat and any free play runs you're doing. If you're doing a new adventure or a variant of some kind, it doesn't matter if this is on or off, because it's only you can only Modron reset in a free play. Oh, Iomea says they fixed that. Oh, thank God. Well, I still turn it off. I'm scared. I lost too many epic potions that way. So now we know. Now, whenever they have a new, if we come over here, let's hop in one of the newer campaigns. You just have to make sure you go through and you build them out again. I have not built out any. If you'll note, I've built a starting formation and a Zaka farming formation. I haven't even saved any pushing formations yet, because I forgot. But when they build a new campaign out, one of the first things you want to do is build out your first formation and run with it. So that way it's going to make it easier as you run through and farm those. So yeah, I'm trying to remember. The formation save system is, again, it seems it's straightforward if you know where it is and you know what all the little buttons do. But there isn't really an explanation in game. So now we have one online. But the big power of the formation save system, hopefully you now understand, is it makes your life easier when you're playing the game. It makes your life easier. You don't have to remember, man, what was that Azaka farm formation I wanted to use that I've been using lately? Just make sure you're saving it whenever, and updating your saves, and you're going to be great. It's also great for, I should have gone here. If you run into certain challenging patron variants that you can't beat, what I like to do, since there's no in-game note system, I like to make notes in a notepad on my document on my computer, and then when I come back to try to do, no, these aren't. There we go. When I come back to do something like with might makes right, potentially, I can load it in, and it will automatically load in whatever I thought my best formation was for that. I think the best one is probably here. This wasn't the right one, but I think, what did I have? Valindra something, right? So I know if I'm going back against if I'm doing Dragon Baits, if I'm doing Dragon Baits variant and I didn't beat it the first time, I know I can come in and I can load my save. And I can try it again with whatever I worked at to come up with a potential viable solution the last time I was there, right? This is the power of the formation save system. So don't be afraid to use it. You've got lots of formation slots available, 50 again, formation save slots for each campaign and for each champion. So we've got 6 campaigns, we've got trials. There's 7 straight off the bat. Well, let's just say 6 campaigns plus 4 each. There's because you get each campaign has a patron set. So there's 30 sets of formation saves, and then you have what we have like over 90 champions now available through events, or like some are in events, some are in time gates. Each of those has 50, and then trials has 50. There's a lot of formation saves in the game. Make sure you're using them. You're not going to run out unless you forget to clear out old ones, or you get really too detailed in trials, right? So we're going to stop now. We're a little early, but that's fine. I think we covered all the topics. And we're going to take our break. When we come back from the break, we will address any questions that I might have missed. Not missed. Things that I might not have covered if you had a question about it in the first half. Trevor grabbed them all for me. No need to post them again. And then we'll have a lot of time for any other questions that you might have about Idle Champions. Right? The song at the break is Esmeralda's song. We don't hear that one a lot, but it's Where Angels Fear to Tread. It's a pretty good one. Be back shortly.
Struck out on my own, with no place to call my home, but a purpose burning bright inside my heart. Sought a mentor on my quest, so I can study with the bear. Now there's nothing left but vengeance in my car. When fate took my leg, I got up to fight again. Nothing stops me from the task at hand. Now I'm stronger than before. I stand ready for this war. Drive the undead scourge out of this land. Predators are played by my hand. I'm going angels fear to tread. I'm going evil goes, I'll hunt them to the end. Eternal peace for the undead. I'll send them all to hell. It's time to make amends. Stalking monsters all alone in this dread domain I roam. Ancient evil hounds me every night. Search across this land. Oh, way to understand how to break the curse and bring back the light. Time to put an end to this fight. I'm going where angels fear to tread. I'm going evil goes, I hunt them to the end. Eternal peace for the undead. I'll send them all to hell. It's time to make amends. Time to make amends. Angels fear to tread. Send them all to hell. I hunt them to the end.
And I'm back. I think I'm still here. Anyway, I'm gonna hop into the questions that Trevor pulled for me. If you have more questions, throw them into chat. They can be about any topics, folks. Any topics. We're in the Q&A portion, so we will cover anything and everything. Otherwise, I'm just gonna talk to myself. Nobody wants that. Knockout Panda, how do you quickly skip the specialization choices? So if you haven't picked those up and you're like, well, I don't want to choose right now, I want to wait until my information is loaded, yada yada yada. When they pop up on the screen like that, you can just hit the escape key. Just hit the escape key for each one that's up, and it will it will remove them, so you don't have to click through them all. Even Leper Zerg, does blocking champion swaps also block saved familiar swaps? Blocking champion swap. Oh, so like when I was like, what was the context of this? So when your formation is under attack, yeah, it's not when it just disables any kind of load, attempt to load in anything. So until the formation is not under attack anymore, which can be done in a variety of ways. You can kill things off. You can use a knockback like a Shara's Push or Warden's Magnet or Gromma's Wall. These are just a few examples. To create a separation between you and the enemies. As long as they're melee, it'll work. Some of the movement ones, the wall one might not work for ranged, but some of the movement ones like Shara's Knockback might work momentarily, give you enough time to spam him the swap against ranged enemies as well. Methyl 81, all of this kind of requires familiars to level the champions though, right? No. Again, when I go to load in, when I save things over here, it does list, yes, out the number of familiars that I have. But if I don't have any familiars, it's still going to save the formation layout that I had, which still saves me time. Because I don't have to worry about, well, how do I build this formation again? I don't have to sit down at the start of the run and go, oh, what was I just using to push with? I can just hit the button, and I can look at, and I can hover over. If I saved as one of these, I can hover over it, and then I can just manually buy those champions. They're automatically going to go in the right location in the formation. Right? So the time that I took to try to maximize that formation layout at my wall or whatever, wherever I built it, if it was a speed one, I probably built it at the beginning. If it's a pushing one, I built it at the wall. I don't have to go through all of that process again because I already did it once. I just load that formation, buy those champions. If they weren't on the field, they won't go out there. Like if I were to well, if they weren't on the field and I try to buy them, like if I were to pull somebody off and I were to buy Whittle would go in that place. But if I then just hit the formation button again, it's going to swap back. It's going to swap back to the correct champions. But yeah, if you don't have familiars, it's going to save the formation layout. You still have to manually buy the champions. Familiar automation is about manually buying and upgrading the champions. And then automation, the automation that comes from Modrons is about automatically loading that formation in when you start the run and when you reset a run, and then setting the reset area and using potions. Right, these are separate types of automation. For more information on those, there is a Gaarawarr's Guide to Automation that covers both of those on the CNE YouTube channel. Vodkas, how do you delete a formation you no longer need? You come over here while you're in that campaign, or whether that campaign is a regular campaign, a patron campaign, Trials of Mount Tiamat. You have to be in an actual run for whatever campaign you're running, including Champions. You have to be in a Champions event or time gate run. And then you can go through and delete. Because there's 50 and they're not counting any of these against you anywhere else. Your example of you said like a time gate formation with a full epic hero. Well, there's no need to delete that stuff. That champion that you were time gating that now you don't need gear for. You may get them. You may choose them later in a free natural time gate weekend because maybe that's who you need item levels for. You're still going to want access to your formation saves, so you can leave those. The ones I delete to clean up are if I create a variant, like a formation specifically for a variant. Like maybe I'm hot swapping things in a variant, and I will label them for that variant. When I beat that variant, I delete it. Because I don't need that anymore. So I will always keep things like this. I will always keep a speed farm. I'll keep, right now with Ashara at the top of the meta, or somewhere near the top of the meta, I'm going to keep an Ashara one. Zaka farming will always be a thing. Click debuff until they get rid of it. Or Kira stacking now, right? At some point I'll have to Dahani farm. I keep forgetting. So yeah. You don't really. I would just delete the things that are for specific variants and leave everything else. I actually keep some variant layouts because they were incredibly difficult variants. And when Chad asks me, "Hey Gaarawarr, how'd you do Strahd's a lesson in classes?" If I had trouble with that variant and I saved it, I can actually go look at it and find out. And go look at it and find out. Let's see what else are specifically about formation saves. Here, from Trevor. Do you recommend assigning familiars to ultimate attacks when saving a formation? It depends on what I'm doing. Like I said, for patron stuff, each patron usually has something about ultimates, using ultimates. So I tend to assign to my speed run one, my generic speed run one, because at some point I will end up in that, a generic speed run. I tend to assign familiars to ultimates in that one, to all the ultimates, because I have all the familiars. Well, not all. I have enough familiars to do that with. But it depends on the function of the run. In this run, I don't want anything on my familiar ultimates, but that's very specific to this type of run. If I know, like, well, what are my other saves here? For a Shara push, there will be familiars on the ultimate bar, most likely. Because when I'm pushing, I'm going to want something on Orkira's ultimate, I'm going to want something on Regis' ultimate, on Balos' ultimate, on Freely's ultimate, on Penelope's ultimate, and probably on Avern's ultimate. But I won't want anything on like Ashara's ultimate or Gromma's wall, because that stops things. I may or may not have one on Tyrell's, right? But I'll put them on things that matter. For Zaka farming, I won't. I'll hit those manually. For click debuff, I will. Again, I'll have things on the debuffing ultimates. For Akira stacking, I won't. Right, so it's gonna be situational. It's gonna be situational. All right, and we're gonna go to generic questions, or the more generic questions. We're gonna come back to that one. Morcha, when you buy a new core, so a Modron core, there's only one you can buy. So let's just say when you acquire a new core, is it generated randomly? No. There are 3 cores, current Modron cores currently in the game. When you do your very first split the party, it gives you the modest core. It gives you what's called the modest core. That core, if we come over here, it's this one. It's this one. It's going to have a very specific layout. It has a very specific fixed layout. Now you're only accessing it at level 1, and you have to level it up to get access to all the nodes, and then you have to pipe it, right? But it has a very specific layout. When you do split the party 2, you get the speed core, which is this one. It's the one with the feathered eyebrows. And it has its own separate layout with its own specific nodes that do different things, and it lets you go real fast. And then if you buy the core, there's, like it says, buy additional cores. I've purchased them all. That was the strong core. It's this one that looks like it's squinting at you with some armor on. It has its own unique layout. The node starts at the top, and everything cycles around. Automation for the later cores, automation is at level 3. You have to actually get to level 3, which people always complain about because they get so spoiled by the automation from the modest core, and then they go to level up their others, and that they got to go through 3 full levels, or they got to get through level 3 to get there. And it's just like, oh. It just goes to show you how wonderful a feature automation is in the game. So no, I mean, they're all very specific. So if you want to get the speed one, you just have to unlock. You have to complete split the party 2. Nos 5134. How do you get automation set up? So there's 2 different types of automation in the game currently. One is familiars, and again, you can get these from the gem store or from the cash shop. There's also each patron offers one, but for newer players, it's either buying them in the gem store or in the cash shop. The mage hand familiar is the very first one. It's super cheap. I want its skin back on. And that's usually the first thing you buy with gems. But as far as the rest of the automation, this automation setup, This is when you unlock your Modron core. You need to have completed Split the Party. Split the Party, to access it, requires that you have 2 champions in every bench slot. So you'll need to own, at that point, at least 24 champions. At least 24 champions. And you collect those via time gates and via events like the ones going on right now. So you can grab 3 events right now in the grand, or 3 champions right now in the Grand Revel. And that will help you on your way to Split the Party. What should you spend your gems on? Ricky Dink Pod Racer. There's probably a... Here, somebody probably put this in earlier, but there's a Battle Champions visual aids link in chat. If you scroll down a couple, there is a gems visual aid that Mars and I collaborated on. And it talks about the different types of things you should spend your gems on. I really should just get that into my stream overlay at some point so I can bring it up and show it off. But ultimately the answer is it depends on where you are in your progress. When you start off, again, the first thing usually you want to spend gems on is your mage hand. After that, you start buying lots of silver chests until you have certain rarities of gear across all of your main champions. Then you switch to gold chests, and then you start alternating like gold chests and then occasionally a familiar when you can afford it. But buying chests is buying power. Chests come with all of your gear, leveling up your gear, both in terms of its item level and its rarity, is what helps you push further and easier. And then familiars are basically just a quality of life feature. They're going to help you automate things. That's nice, but they're not going to help you push further or complete difficult variants. That's just not what they do. So you need to make sure you're still buying lots of chests and opening them up. Sailor Suzaku, when setting up a gem farm formation with multiple parties running, does the speed gem farm team have to be the active one to go fast? Yes. Yes. We also had another question. Does the speed champions effects work in background parties? No. Generally speaking, no. There's some uncertainty about whether Shandy works in background parties or not, because Shandy speeds up the game like a speed potion. It's possible she might, but even the developers weren't entirely sure about that. So you might have to do some testing to see if Shandy works in their background formation. But because of the way the automation is currently set up in the background, as of right now, February 12th, 2022, they don't really do the speed effects don't really affect anything in the background. So when you want to do speed runs like the one I'm doing right now, it needs to be in your active party. Your background parties can, slowly farm gems, or they can start their way down the road to certain variants or whatever you want. But you're gonna have to manually manage those. While you're speed running in the foreground. And I guess I'll backtrack and I'll answer this. Mujesti C, what are your speed run characters and specs? Well, this is my current speedrun formation, but it's an advanced speedrun formation. This is automated Briv gem farming. That's why it says it, Briv gem farm. This is a specific form of speed farming. I also have speed farm over here, which is a different layout. Let me stop and I will address the difference between the two. This is my normal... none of this matters. Well, most of this doesn't matter. This would be a normal Mad Wizard gem farming formation that I have set up. I'd probably, if I cared about this formation at all, I would probably swap out now Melf for Vi. And we'll increase her sass. This is now going to be my new generic speed farm formation. So, when you're building a speed farm formation, the key is speed champions. I know that sounds obvious, but that's the thing. You may not have all of these champions. Let me take out the ones that aren't actually speed champions. You may not have all of these speed champions. And in fact, I don't necessarily, like in this one, I don't have Briv out for reasons. But these are generic speed champions whose effects are going to be working through a place like Mad Wizard. When you're first starting out, Mad Wizard is where you would speed farm for gems. But these are also the type of characters I would look at if I was just building, like these are the first characters I would look at to load into a formation if I was just building a speed formation for any place. Because these are speed characters whose speed kicks in without excess requirements, like say Briv. Without excess requirements. So what I look at for here is like Human is going to give me extra credit when I kill things. That's what his speed effect does. Whittle helps you attack faster, but also makes enemies get to the dying point faster, which is why even though they should be dying over here on the right before the familiar, some of them are appearing to the left of the familiar line. It's because a couple of my champions here are working together to make them spawn so fast they jump across the screen. The game just can't handle it. Shandy speeds up the entire game. Deacon also makes things spawn faster. Sentry reduces the requirement of a level. So if we move forward a couple levels here, after we beat this boss, you'll see I only need 17 enemies defeated. Sentry's doing that for me. And Vi makes things, decreases the time between waves, right? So all of these, and if I have for this first set of imps out for Havilar and I'm on Mad Wizard, Havilar gives me extra credit on imps, against imps. So all of these things work together to create a speed formation, and then I fill in the extra gaps with some multi-hit champions because on Mad Wizard there's barricades, so clearing them out quickly helps you move forward quickly. Now, if I were just doing a generic, I would use this also as a generic speed run formation for any Sword Coast campaign that I wanted to do to start me off, because again, it's generic speed. And I would use similar champions in other campaigns. I would just fill in the gaps differently, right? Like if I'm just starting off a run, I'd fill in the gaps. Like I might actually start with Briv in another formation. I just don't here. But when I want to actually gem farm now at my advanced stage, I do it here on Terror in the Dark instead of Mad Wizard, and I use this formation with automation. There's a whole guide for that by Zeke640. It's on the Reddit and linked in the resources channel in the Discord, and there's a thread in the resources channel that talks about it if you want to try to manage that. But it requires very high item level Human and Briv. Optimus SE, do you have a recommended minimum item level for each champion you use on a regular basis? Not necessarily, no. For the most part, I let them do what they're going to do. Like they gather item levels just through duplicates randomly. But I will target certain champions. Obviously, like speed champions with blacksmithing contracts, and ramp their levels up to certain target levels that people in the Discord have figured out to get their bonuses, like I did that with Human and Briv. But for the rest, what I do is instead of trying to find like a good average like that everybody should have, I just find my own. And what I do is I create a power floor. So when I go in and I use a blacksmithing contract, and it shows me all of my champions that I have, gear for, that I have 6 pieces of gear for, whether it's epic or not, as we'll notice here that I'm still missing one for Vi. I will try to level them up roughly the same, but I look at whoever is the lowest, and I bring them up. I don't target whoever are the solid ones. You know, Avern's only at 200 item levels, right? But you'll see Dragonbait's at 2,700. Well, why is that? Well, Dragonbait is an evergreen champion. he's going to get lots of item levels off of just generic silver and gold chests, whereas Averin I have to actually pump blacksmithing contracts into or go do time gates for. I just haven't bothered. He's strong enough. He could be stronger if I focused him, but I'm good. So what I do is then I look at what is the lowest, right? So I just reset. Let me open that up again. Automation in action, folks. Oh, this needs to be there. There we go. Jumping away. All right. So when I'm done with Vi, what I will do right now, my lowest, my floor for the lowest amount of item levels I want on a champion is 100. You'll see I've got some that are just over that. So they have met that requirement. There isn't anybody else in this list. There shouldn't be anybody else in this list that has less than 100 item levels. So except for Vi, because we're not done with Vi's event. So I'm going to keep opening Vi chests. It'll end up, if it doesn't end up over 100, as long as if I get the epic, once I get the epic, then I'll dump blacksmithing contracts into Vi until she clears 100. Now, if you're not like me and 100 is a very far cry from where your lowest champions are, like if they're in the 30s, let's say you have like 8 champions that are still in average item level 30 somewhere, right? Then maybe you want to look at your floor, setting your floor at first to be 40, and then you just go use some of your blacksmithing contracts on those champions, bit by bit until you get them to 40, and then look at how many blacksmithing contracts you have left, and then look at the rest of your champions, and then maybe your next floor is 50, and then that's kind of how I started, and then I slowly started raising my floor as I went along, and now it's 100. It probably should be 110 at least now, because with the gems I'm earning, I'm able to usually fully epic out a new event champion when they come out. And I should be taking advantage of that. They're usually they're usually above level 100 now, so I should be raising my floor. But I've been pumping everything into my speed champions to get them to do this. Yeah, so you just kind of have to make decisions. If you want to dump a bunch of item levels into like your core pushing group, sure, go right ahead. But give yourself a goal. Give yourself a goal, and don't just dump indiscriminately. The best return on investment champions are your speed champions like Briv and Human, because they're going to get you a lot more gems in return for what you're pumping into them, up to a point. And then you can start spreading things around. And then there are certain champions that are much more efficient with their item levels, like the aforementioned Averin. I probably should throw a few hundred more item levels on him because he uses item levels very efficiently, in the sense that one of his items actually activates multiple times, which means you're getting more out of it, right? So looking at things like that is helpful. JF Pluto, if you do not have the feats for the champions, do Azaka farm runs make sense still? Sure. Azaka farming, all Azaka farming requires is that you have Azaka, and that's it, right? Like that's, as long as you have Azaka, you can Azaka farm. Now, what you have in addition to that is bonus. You'll automatically have, once you've unlocked Azaka, you should already have, you'll have Jarlaxle, you'll have Bruenor. Both of these champions, if you level them up enough, well, Jarlaxle has Gold Find early, Bruenor has it a little later. You should have hopefully unlocked Dritzt along the way to that, so that would automatically give you 3 champions that boost Gold Find just at base, plus Azaka. So if you start today, if you're a brand new player today, and you're like, I want to Azaka farm, what do I need? Well, you push through Sword Coast, you unlock Dritz, then you hop over to Tomb Annihilation, you unlock Azaka. Bam, it's time to Azaka farm. Adding other things like specific feats and other champions that help boost Gold Find. These are extras. These are things that you adjust along the way to optimize your Azaka formation. But all you really need is Azaka. You have to know how to do an Azaka farm. I demonstrated that yesterday on GG2E. Well, to a certain degree, I went over it quite in detail with Vi and how I really like Vi for Azaka farming now. So if you want to hit the VOD for yesterday's GG2E, towards the end, maybe the last half an hour, 30 to 40 minutes, I went pretty in detail about setting up an Azaka farm, high level Azaka farm with all the champions and why. Trombe, does boss powering up make them move faster? No, it just makes them hit harder. It just makes them hit harder. All it is a multiplier on their damage. It used to make them get bigger, and I think it does to a certain degree, but it doesn't make them. It shouldn't make them move faster. The only thing that should make them move faster is Eliwick's Flames card. Saying that I've got 70 champions now. Nice. I'm wondering if I should be using time gate pieces for more champions, gearing current champions, or some of each. Any advice? I would keep Pokemoning it up and collecting all the champions, quite frankly. You're getting real close to being done. The only advice I have is, you could hoard up your pieces and then wait until the next a natural time gate weekend, which should be not this weekend, but next weekend. See who you get free, and then, do a run, pick up a free champion that you don't have, because you're always guaranteed to get one you don't have. And then go from there. So if you have like a priority of if you still have a priority list, and maybe you should make one of who you want to like flesh out. Patron variants is usually what you're looking for by that point, by 70 in. You should have all the main pushers, but you should be trying to flesh out things you need for patron variants that are challenging for you. Do it that way. I wouldn't worry about like farming gear out of time gates. I mean, you might for certain champions like Human if you don't have his epic speed item, or Briv if you don't have his epic speed item. Those might be worth spending time gates on. Those are worth spending time gates on. I'll just flat out say that. But yeah, after that, gearing up, you're gonna get up to blue gear just from Electrum chests. All these Electrum chests you give out on shows like this and all the other partnered shows. And then you can always hunt epics later, or get them out of slowly out of patron chests. Halfby, did you cover potions in automation and limitations to use? In my guide to in the Gaarawarr's guide to automation that's on the CNA Games YouTube. I believe we did talk about potions. Like I have potions activated here, but I'm out of them. It says none available. So I have still got it on, because if I open up chests and some are available for this specific, what I'm doing right now, I just want them to get used. But yeah, there are more limitations to potions, but I know that the devs are aware that we would like those to be adjusted, and we may see changes to that in the future. But right now the limitation is obviously you have to have some, but you can only use any potion once. Is kind of the problem that needs to be fixed. Star Chaser 43, which champion in the upcoming Court of the Raven Queen, Idle Champions Prisoners Court of the Raven Queen, are you most excited to see? My opinion, all of them is an acceptable answer. I mean, yeah, all of them would be the general answer. But I if I have to pick a favorite, it's going to be Farida, because Aaron M. Evans usually only plays Havilar on streams. She's talked about it a lot, about how Havilar is more of a stream-friendly character and Frida is more of a book-friendly character, because Frida is more in her head a lot. I am very interested to see Aaron finally roleplay Havilar. We got a little taste of that at the end of Trials of Mount Tiamat, but it was more just a one-on-one with the DM, and I'm going to be interested to see how Havilar interacts with the group. Yeah. And if you haven't seen, I just saw a tweet from Obo Lauren showing off a new skin for Orkira, a Court of the Raven Queen skin. I don't know if that's hit the Discord yet, But yeah, apparently we're going to be getting skins for those characters too, and yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Xferlix, some people say that if you have too many characters on the battlefield, it's slowing down the gem farm. Have you ever experienced this? Too many characters on the battlefield. I mean, if you always want a full formation. You always want a full formation. That shouldn't be a problem. You only go as far as you can instant click kill, so I'm not going to have too many enemies on the battlefield. So if things are slowing down, I mean, you might want to look into your settings. There's a nice new pretty settings dialog. Like the graphics. I have my particle amount set to low pretty much all the time. I disable all these other effects. And for me, that keeps things moving quickly unless I'm doing click debuff. Click debuff's the only time I actually see a slowdown. But that's because there's, anywhere from 50 to 100 enemies on the screen at once, and I'm doing lots of clicking and spreading of damages, and there's just too much going on for the game to handle. But I've never run into that in gem farming. There may be people who iterate their gem farms down to like shaving off seconds of every run. I'm not that person. Maybe they're seeing a difference. I don't care that much, I guess. Gliding Secret, why is it better for Mad Wizard gem farming to stop at 30, 80, 130, 180? You said in your last episode there were reasons, but didn't elaborate. I was going to 125. Okay. What makes Mad Wizard, Baby's first gem farming, the best place to go when you're a brand new gem farmer, fresh out of your nappies? It's a bad example, but yeah. The best place to go when you first start, whether you only have a couple speed champions or not, is because it is the fastest normally available free play, because it has portal levels. So it has those levels where there's, instead of the enemies spawning from the far right, there's a portal, and as fast as you can kill them, they just dump out. There is no delay in spawn. They just fly out of those portals as fast as you can kill them, which makes the first 30 levels, because that's where the portals are through, is through the first 30 levels. It makes those the fastest 30 levels available in a free play. So what you're trying to do is you're trying to set you look at instant click kill. So like what's happening on screen now, where everything's dying the moment it loads in. Those are dying to familiars, not the champions. It may look like the champions are jumping out there and trying to attack, but I could take all the champions off the field. The familiars would be instantly killing everything. You figure out what your instant kill wall is, meaning how far you can go where you're one click killing everything. Hopefully that's higher than 30. I really hope it is. If it isn't, you probably shouldn't be gem farming. You should go get a Zaka, and you should be a Zaka farming to get yourself some favor. But you try to do it over 30. So if it's anywhere between 30 and 80, you set your reset to 30. So all of these are actually multiples of 30. 80 is a multiple in this game, kind of a multiple, an iteration of 30, because every 50 levels the game repeats itself. So 80 is just the first 50 levels plus 30 more. So you want 30 to be your target. If you can get it to 80, then you make it 80. If you can click kill to 130, well, now bump that up. You kind of want to go as high as possible, because what you're doing is you're shaving off the reset time. But also, once you pick up Shandy, the further you can go, the more efficient she is, because she takes a while for her speed effect to kick in. And she might not even kick in 30 levels for you. But she should by 80, and she definitely will the further you go. My wall for this is a different type of farming, but it would still be probably 500 if I were just instant click killing. So I would probably shoot for it wouldn't be 530, it would probably be I would probably shoot for 480 if I were just doing Mad Wizard. But yeah, so if you can get to 125, if that's the end of your instant click kills, my suggestion is farm a bit more favor in Sword Coast, if you can, with Azaka, so that you can get that instant click kill wall to 130 and then set your reset at 130. Now, it's okay if you don't go all the way to 130. You're probably still hitting a lot of portals. It's probably fine, but most people try to target that 30 and 80, so they're using their time most efficiently. Yeah. 125 is probably fine, but 30 is some iteration of 30 is what you're usually targeting, because those first 30 levels are the fastest. The Outlaw Torn, is there a guide somewhere for the Briv gem farm that you're currently using? Sort of. Here's the thing. Again, Zeke640 on in Discord, on Reddit. There's a guide on the Reddit. It should be linked in the Discord. Should talk about like automated Briv gem farming or some type of title like that. There's a thread in the Discord under resources channel. It will talk about the concept that I'm using here. However, this type of high item level, advanced automated gem farming is incredibly subjective to each individual user and their favor amounts and their power levels, and has to be very finely tuned to work. So while I could go into exactly what I'm doing here, and just tell you what my specs are and my number, like, you're not gonna, even if you have the same amount of favor in Sword Coast that I do, yours isn't gonna work like mine does. And actually, I need to adjust mine. I need to slightly tweak mine because I got a little more favor, and that throws it off. So it is something that is very susceptible to change. It takes a while to tweak out. I think it probably took me a month to get this tuned out completely, and to the point where I can update it fairly easily now. Yeah. So there isn't a guide specifically to exactly my formation, but there is a guide to how it works, and how you set it up. It requires a high item level Human. At least you have to get to what's referred to as at least a 2-kill Human, in my opinion. And then Briv needs to be able to be a guaranteed 2 jump, 100% chance to skip 2 levels, plus another like 20 or 30% to skip 3, before this actually becomes more efficient than farming the normal way in Mad Wizard. Hey Super Steve, does Vi's speed effect do anything when you are instantly click killing things? I'm not sure. If I'm being honest, I am not sure. Justin said, when we're going to hold him to this, we're all going to keep holding him to this. He said they should write up a document and post it on their website that explains how all the different speed effects work, not only so that the community understands, but also so that they internally all understand, and can explain them better. Because there's one person that designs the champions, and then everybody else has to talk about them, and so things don't always get explained well. Vi is supposed to reduce the time between waves, but if you're instantly click killing, the wave should instantly spawn after you've killed it. So it's difficult to say if there's any reduction at all there. Yeah, difficult to say. Now the thing is the only other speed champion in that slot is Melf, and his is a random effect between 3 different choices. And the one of them doesn't really matter if you have a high level Human. It's the extra credit. Like the only one that really ultimately ends up mattering is the one that speeds up the spawn speed. But if you have Deacon and you have a high item level Whittle, the effect is probably negligible. So switching to Vi may be better. But there's probably people testing this out right now in the Discord, and you probably ask in the tavern. Yeah. I don't know. Too new to know. Too new to know. Bitter old guy. Since gold drop from enemies is a function of their health, it's related in some cases, but it's my understanding it is its own curve. It's its own curve, but I could be wrong. Maybe it's its own curve per campaign. Maybe they're linked per campaign. Maybe that's the difference. Maybe that's what I'm thinking. Does Modron enemy health debuff reduce gold drop? Potentially. But it shouldn't matter because the amount of health it reduces isn't as it's enough to get maybe 1 or 2 more levels, if that. So it's not going to significantly. Every time you go another level further, you're the gold, like the health would go up and the gold it goes up. Like it's kind of a wash. It should be a wash. So yeah, it shouldn't really matter. Shouldn't really matter. Final question I have in the document. If you got more questions, folks, we've got more time. We got another half an hour. How does Puent help with Azaka farming? Puent actually has a gold find bonus, but only if he's next to a companion of the hall. But only if he's next to a companion of the hall. Otherwise, he doesn't offer anything at all. These are things that, I mean, all of the abilities, this is, check champions' abilities. But he has one that says, it's basically, because he is not a companion of the hall. The companions of the hall are a very specific set of champions. He is a one of the King's Guard for Bruenor Battlehammer. He is not a companion of the hall, but because he spends so much time with a companion, he's a friend of the companions. They kind of threw him a little bone of gold find bonus, but only if he's next to one of the companions. It's not really a lot. The companions in general don't have a lot of gold find, but he contributes to their pool. They're kind of, once upon a time, they were the best options for gold find. Now they are most of them are removed. I only use Dritz and Bruenor now. Well, Regis. Dritz, Bruenor, and Regis now. But I think we're getting really close to me not including Bruenor anymore. I would have replaced Bruenor with Dahani, but Dahani's gold find is garbage. Xanthfan, are there any plans to release a familiar pack? Nothing but familiars in it. Trevor says not right now. But they will keep that in mind. I haven't heard anything about anything like that. I know somebody said the other day, made the suggestion, there's Champions of Renown packs. Why aren't there familiar packs where you could buy a bunch of familiars? And it makes a lot of sense. Quite frankly. I think it would be a fantastic thing to do to bundle retired familiars into packs that, go up for a while and then disappear. Like, you could even theme them. I mean, there's some cool older familiars that you could probably, that are no longer available. You could probably bundle together and, I don't even have all the familiars. These are the ones that are currently available in the store that I could just go buy in one form or another. But there's a bunch of familiars that aren't even listed here that are only available in wild offers because I didn't buy them when they were out originally. So yeah, it would be neat to bundle those. The real Bunny Bees. Just how cool are all those new ICP skins? I haven't seen them all. I only saw Akira's flash by my feed right before we started. Hold on. Otherwise, if I had all these available, I would have brought the graphics and I'd be showing them off right now. In fact, maybe I can. Hold on. Let us do some shenaniganry. And see if I can show them off on screen. Does this pop up correctly? No. Of course not. Does that pop? Now that pops up correctly. Now does it transfer over? Sort of. Sort of. Okay, so there's yeah, let me do this a different way. Hold on. That's not going to work out for me. That's not going to work out well. Let me find this. Anyway, folks, here's the Codename Entertainment blog. If you haven't seen Disco, the Baby Moonstone Dragon Familiar, there you go. That's the current... I didn't talk about this yesterday, probably because I already picked them up. Oh, no. This is the current Charity Familiar. This is the current Charity Familiar. They're pretty adorable. They're pretty adorable. Why is it not... Oh, no, yeah. I can't... I'm not going to be able to bring them all up, folks. Maybe if... Hold on. Maybe if I find... I had thought maybe, for a second... This is what I get for thinking. Trevor's busy, because otherwise Trevor would have retweeted all of these on the CNE account. So here we go. Here we go. I can find him under one of my lists. Here is Lauren's. Here's Lauren's. Look at that. Let me. Are we there? Yeah. Okay. So here's Orkira's skin, looking all stealthy and Raven Queenish. No. Where are all the others? Where are all the others? There we go. Here's there's Shaka's. I had to go to my Dungeons and Dragons list on Twitter to find these. There's Shaka's. Dampier Shaka. Got the teeth coming out. Are there any others? I don't see any others. That's all I got. That's all I got. So yeah, I don't know. They're gonna have to put those somewhere that I can see them and show them off, because I got it. You can look it up. Oh, hashtag. Hold on. I got an update. Let me see if I can hashtag it and find it. Oh. Uh-oh. Okay, hold on. This is... I feel like this is spoilers. But hey, we're going to do it anyway. Because if they're going to spoil it, that means I can spoil it, right? Here's DJ's, the character of Desmond. Apparently in an Idle Champions formation. Desmond coming to the game, I guess. Hey, everybody. Check it out. No, that's I hate to tell it to you, but that hashtag, Trevor, not everybody's using it, or they're not spelling it right. Those are the only two. I get Orkira and I get Desmond. I didn't even get Shaka. I didn't give it Shaka. Yeah. Oh, that's the biggest. Believe me, as a social media manager. Oh, why did they not do it? Ooh, okay, I have all of the images over here. I can't get these from Discord to here fast enough, though. Farida's is looking wild. What? Spoiler, Vi has one? Baloths. Oh, my God. Folks, when you see these, you're going to have to hit up. When they load them up, when they start spreading these around, these are worth seeing. Okay, back to the questions list. Let's see what we got. Baloth. I thought Baloth had pretty good skin in the game already. But yeah, this next one is a little wild. Extinct. In regards to item levels, should I try to level up my main group kind of together? Get one to level 20, then the next one, then the next, or focus on my DPS? That's some low item levels. It makes me think like maybe they're not even full epic yet. I kind of hold off. I don't know that blacksmithing contracts are worth using until a champion is, in my opinion, until a champion's full epic. Because you're still going to be on a hunt to get those items. You're still going to be trying to get power out of them. I think the only place that I might change that rule is on like speed champ, like on Briv or Human. Uh, yeah, I feel like there's more that you could be doing to just like hunting gear to try to get them to that rarity, because those rarities are going to be more important than just their general item levels. And if we're talking in the level 20 range, then I don't know that they need blacksmithing contracts yet. But you do you. You do you. Yeah, if you're going to use them anyway, then yeah, target the group you're currently using for pushing that you think is your current deep group and throw some on and just try to get them roughly the same. Sharkfighter 9000, last week you said to focus on farming Human in this event. Yeah. Now that you know more about Vi, do you still feel that way? Yeah. Yeah. Human, a most powerful champion in the game. Well, most powerful speed champion in the game based off item levels. I think even more important than Briv. It's just a combination of the two is redonkulous. But yeah, Human still. If you're gonna just focus on one champion, Human. But here's the thing: Human really, like, you target his slot 4 and his slot 6. Slot 4 is the super important. Slot 6 is the secondary importance, because it also feeds speed into your formation. With Vi, it's slots 3 and 4. So if you want to get Human to 4 and 6, and then try to get Vi's 3 and once you get at least 4 and 6 for Human, if you want to then try to get Vi's 3 and 4, and then you could go back to Human. Yeah, Havilar's just generically would need gear for pushing, but her speed effect doesn't have anything to do with gear. Arkadoc, is it possible to stack Krull's Pilfer over 10 when pushing to the wall? Yeah, if you've got Virulent Strain feats slotted, it'll come up. If you want to get any of his plagues over 10, you have to use the Virulent Strain feats. Those are Krull's. Trevor, what is going on? The document's haunted. That's the only really way to reliably get virulent, like, stacks over 10 is to have both the Virulent Strain feats slotted. I'm sorry, folks. It's just Trevor's copy pasting your questions in, and for whatever reason, he's trying to put it in on one line, and it's jumping in like 3 lines down, and then it's going away, and then it's come back again, it's going away. It's killing me. Saturdays. It's nice that the week is over. Yeah, it was skipping like 6 lines. Yeah, it was jumping a few. And it was weird because it wasn't even putting a space in. It was just, no, I'm going to put it down here. The Outlaw Torn. What is more important for an Artemis DPS formation? How many buffs are observed, or how beneficial the observed buffs are? The combination of both, like, it's the overall power you're getting. So that could be, it could be that, I mean, you want everything you can get, but you also want the most powerful things in that you can get. It's a weird, Artemis is weird. You obviously want to observe buffs, and you want to make sure you're observing strong buffs, but you also still need to build out a formation that can push, and maybe it's not all about the observed buffs, because you still need to make sure you have a good tank and other things, right? Like, you're looking for a combination that gives you the best pushing power with Artemis in, and that doesn't necessarily mean building out a formation that only exists to serve Artemis, like to feed him positional formation abilities. You have to walk a line between the two. Item level on his observe items around 1,000. Wow, yeah, he is definitely a viable DPS at this point. I don't even think my Artemis is that is that stacked, and he's a viable DPS for me in variants. I don't use him for everything. Where are you? He's up here. Yeah, I'm only at 700 average. Yeah, so yours is better than mine, and I rock him a lot in Valindra, or not Valindra, Zariel variants in like Icewind Dale. The Lurking Rider, what champions would you put in a background formation for extra gem farming purposes? Or will any number of champions, do the same job? I know speed of champions don't trigger in background offline progress. So this is a good question. Some people like to just throw familiars in and just farm with familiars, and I don't think... I think that might be one of the reasons why some people's background parties have problems. I put familiars on I will put one familiar on the field in a background formation. And then I will put I don't put any on click damage, and then I put any other familiars I'm loading in there on the champions I want in there. Here's the way back, and here's why I do this. Background / offline progress is a simulation. It's not an active run. What it's looking for is to find out do you have enough damage to kill the required number of enemies on that level within a fixed period of time. I'm answering it right now, Trevor. Within a fixed period of time. So it starts off at like 1 minute, I think, or maybe now it's 40 seconds. I don't know. Anyway, it looks at a fixed period of time. So whether that damage is coming from a familiar or coming from champions, it doesn't care. Having both doesn't do you any good. I only put out one because I don't exactly know how the simulation starts. And I know that in a regular run, I want at least one on the field out to kill that first enemy and keep it away from my champion line. So that they can then level up and my formation can load in, right? Like I'm thinking about it from the way I would an active stage. So I put one out to kill anything that first comes out and give me gold. That then lets my formation load in from the other familiars that I use. And then the formation takes over and kills things, right? So I let my formation do the power instead of trying to use the familiars for a couple different reasons. One, if you're gem farming, if you're background running anywhere and it runs into barricades that are those segmented health, like the hit-based enemies, or armor, familiars can only remove armor in segments once every 6 seconds. So in the example originally, it was like, it does a 60-second check. Well, that means I would only ever remove 10 segments off something, and I would fail, right? That's a fail state. And that alone, it wouldn't stop me dead in my tracks. It would extend the amount of time that it's going to take then to estimate each run. That alone is not only a potential failure, it's going to slow down my background progress. By using champions, the champion base attacks are going to remove any hit-based stuff off barricades. Also, they're going to potentially clear armor faster. That keeps my runs moving quickly and smoothly in this kind of... If it's taking all of this stuff into account, and it potentially should be. I don't know. I didn't write it. This is how I build out my formation. So when I'm looking into the background, put one familiar on the field. I'll use whatever other familiars I'm budgeting for that group on the champions and let them level up. And then I let the champions dictate the power that's going to be created and thus used against the simulation for pushing. That has always worked clean for me. People always talk about, they used to talk about a lot about how my formation's always stopping. Every time I turn around, it's stopping. I never had those problems. And I think it's because I wasn't using familiars to try to clear. Because if you just have familiars on the screen, what I worry about there is, well, if you do run into a segmented health thing or an armored thing, let's say if it's trying to clear that off, and it is, and like say you have an armored thing and you have no champions on the field, well, that armored thing is just going to walk all the way off the field, right? It's never even going to hit an enemy, like one of your champions, because you didn't put any in. And that's going to be a fail state for the level, because a fail state for a level is, does an enemy reach the left side, right? Another fail state, again, is if you don't kill things in quick enough. Another fail state is if your champion dies. So if you just put a champion out, but it's not, if it just, you let the deacon or the Runor auto load in, but don't level them up, I mean, and there's no tank, obviously, and they have low health. If they ever get hit by anything, that stops your progress. So building your background formation around leveling up champions, having a proper tank in the front, is going to be things that help you keep your formation alive and thus not run your background and offline progress into a fail state, right? So yeah, it does matter what champions you put in the background. It does, the number, maybe not necessarily. If you have lots of favor and, you just need to put out one tank and that tank's going to rip through everything, and you have a clicker on the field and maybe you then just put up click damage. Maybe that combination is enough. Maybe you just 3 familiars would work. 1 on the field, 1 on click damage, 1 leveling up a tank. That might be all you need. But you got to keep in mind what you're building when you're building a background party. You have to keep in mind, how are you protecting your fail states so that your progress will always keep going. I have failed horribly because I built these out as 10 mans for the bonus that you get, which is a stupid blessing, and then I never forgotten to go back and close those out. So mine actually have nothing to do with actually trying to get anything in the background, and I need to shut them down. We're almost out of time. Puritan 74. Does Helm's favor splitting the party blessing count? Adventuring parties, they're automated in the background. I think this is exactly... Did I just segue? Oh, wrong button, Gaarawarr. You screwed up your segue. Yeah, increase the damage of all champions by 2% for each champion. Yeah, this one. Yeah, I segued. So yes. So each champion in an adventuring party. Well, this is an adventuring party, so I have 9 out here, and then I have 1 here and 2 over here, so I have 12 total. And when I look at this blessing, it says, look at this blessing, it says I have current count 12. So if I had the others maxed out, I would have 29. I would have 29. So yeah, it's going to factor all of that in for the background parties. And if they ever give us more background parties, I don't think that's on the to-do list right now. But if they ever do, that blessing will get more powerful. But right now, I think the goal is to give us more Modron cores so we can specialize, what core we're using for specific things rather than more parties. Super War 94. Can I rerun time gates to get more chests for a certain champion? Yes, that's what time gates are kind of for. Not only can you grab a champion that you don't have, but you can go back and farm gear for them. You'll get a max of 3 gold chests and then however many silvers you can earn. But that's one of the things people do with time gate pieces is cycle to get gear. Now, starting off, it's usually better as a new player for you to just pick up more champions than it is to just try to get more gear for them. It's more impactful for your overall progress, but later on, it's all about farming gear. And then eventually you get to the point where I'm at, and time gate pieces are utterly useless. I've got 300. I don't buy them. Currently, for end game players, I feel like time gate pieces are pointless. I've talked about this on my channel, Twitch TV/Gaarawarr. I do a Idle Champion stream on Tuesdays over there. And I think we were talking about that recently, where I think they need to do something for end game with time gate pieces, because right now they're just a waste. They just sit and never get used. unless someone is specifically just trying to burn through them all for gear, but I don't even think that's worth it. I think my time's better spent Briv gem farming like this than actually running time gates. Mr. Chaos Blaze, will there be a way to get Humon chests after the event? Time gates. Or the shop. But remember, patron chests also. Any patron that Humon qualifies for, their chest potentially can drop his gear. Potentially. Tater Jack. Everybody keeps asking me this, and I'm not gonna cave. Which stat feats are a must buy? I don't know. The ones that you want. The ones that qualify for you for patrons are solid. Yeah, that's nice. If they have like any generic qualification for a patron, and then later on after that, anything that qualifies you for a patron variant or a variant in general that you need more champions for, sure. I do not have a list of these. Somebody else in the community, please, for the love of all that is holy, make a list and post it publicly, and then update it regularly, because I don't have time. I don't know. But yeah, it's just there's so many feats in the game. Each champion has, well, I think the only one champion has 4. And I think it's Dinar. He has garbage feats. But some champions have like 10. And keeping track of them all, even if I'm just trying to keep track of like what feats qualify for them stuff. What I do though is I will note, or I tried to note in the last time I went through and updated all of my champion guides over on the subreddit, was there's a point where I said qualifies for patrons, like what patrons they qualify for, and I list them off, and then in parentheses I will also note if they have a stat feat that qualifies for them for that patron, but I don't have it just in a list somewhere. So that's going to be it for today, folks. I am out. CNE streams are off until Monday. They will return on Monday. What else? Oh, if you want more of me on your screen, whatever screen you've got me on right now, I will be back in an hour on my channel, twitch.tv/Gaarawarr. On Saturdays we play games. Not Idle Champion games, but we play games. We have some fun. We'll be doing that this afternoon. I just take an hour off to grab lunch and not have bright lights shining in my face for a little bit. So come join me over there in about an hour. That's twitch.tv/Gaarawarr. You can see it's spelled like it sounds. It's just right down there. So that's going to be it on the way out. Oh, what song did I... Oh, I'm a Mimic! We're going to hear I'm a Mimic from Bardic Inspiration, which reminds me, I have a new guide out. It's Gaarawarr's Guide to Bardic Inspiration. If you like the music that is created on that show, but you like it in the game, like you say, hey, look at all these Bardic Inspiration songs. There's 17 of them. Well, no, there's like 60-something Bardic Inspiration songs. They didn't all get produced, folks, and if you want to hear them all, I've got links to them all in Gaarawarr's Guide to Bardic Inspiration, now on the subreddit, or also found in the resources channel in the Discord. That's it, folks. I'll see you next week, or later today, depending on if you come hang out with me. Bye.
I'm a chair, I'm a table, I'm a treasure chest. Come a little closer. I'm a simple object just like all the rest. Lean a little closer. I'm your favorite jewel, come on, pick me up. Reach a little closer, you know I'm just the thing that you love. I'm a mimic, nice to meet you. You'll never see the light of day. I'm a mimic, pleased to eat you. Can't help it, I was born this way. I'm a mimic, have to keep you. Cause now you're here to stay. I'm a mimic, had to cheat you. There was no chance of running away. And now your prize has turned you into prey. ball, I'm a door on the wall. Step a little closer. I can imitate, impersonate, or copy it all. Get you even closer. Once you pick me up, you're never putting me down. Stick to you like sovereign blue.